we have a woman of legacy of power, ex-police officer, and she believed that stress isn't the problem, survival mode is. We're going to have a chat with her today to understand what that means, and she's a lived experience of burnout as well. So she's going to have a chat with us as well, let us know how we can be able to heal through burnout and be able to rejuvenate ourselves. Welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm very good, thank you.
That's amazing, Kay. Stress isn't the problem, survival mode is. What is that? Tell us.
Yes. So many people are walking around in society now and we're feeling stressed, but we think that stress is something that happens to us on the way to Friday almost. It's like happening to us all the time, but it's not. Stress is something that happens through us. Often people are living in survival mode, so they're living in that heightened fight or flight state all of the time, and they're not even aware of it.
Yeah.
It's become very normal for people. So when they're living in that high level of stress all of the time, they're literally surviving life rather than actually living it, which is what we're supposed to be here for.
Yeah. You were in the police force for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
28 years I was a police officer. I retired when I was 55, so I retired nearly 5 years ago now. But I became a special constable, so I wanted to give back to the community.
Yes.
I wanted to give something back, and I saw an advert on the television and decided it looked really exciting.
Yes.
I was like, yes, I want to do that. So I applied, and I actually didn't get in the first time. So I was told I wasn't assertive enough, and I didn't have the education then either.
How old were you then?
So I was 26.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually then went back to college on night time and studied law, which was very unusual for me because I didn't particularly do very well at school. I didn't like education, but because it was something that meant something to me,
yes,
and I really wanted to do it, I was like, okay, I can go to college,
Yeah.
and I will do it. And I did. Needless to say that I did get in to serve as a police officer. It was very challenging, very challenging. The fact that I was in a male-dominated environment, first of all, because I'm talking almost 30 years ago now, so it was very different. It was very male-dominated. I was the only female on the shift. So there was a lot of ego, a lot of, living in that man's world, because it was traditionally a man's world. So it was really, really difficult. And I went through lots of challenges within the organisation and also outside. So, if you think that you're constantly all day long dealing with people, actually looking at how humans behave when they are in stressful situations, when they can't manage how they feel, they can't manage their emotions, and they're just projecting outwards all the time. What's really interesting for me now is that I understand human behaviour. I understand why people behave the way they do. It's not necessarily always their fault. It's just they've never been shown another way. They've never been shown how to
behave differently.
Behave differently. They don't know how to express how they feel.
Did you pick that up a lot from working in the police force, dealing with your colleague or with other people?
With both, really. So it was very challenging dealing with colleagues. I mean, back then, I didn't know the things that I know now. So I spent, the best part of probably 25 years surviving rather than thriving.
Yes.
So, I've actually been through that whole journey. It was only 5 years ago when I came up the other side of that healing journey for me. So really it was seeing it through the eyes of colleagues, dealing with colleagues and dealing with the public. And, I was from the era where you're just tough.
Yes.
You get on with it, you be tough, don't cry, I'll give you something to cry for. You pull your big girl pants up and you get on with it, you get on with life, and you don't complain about things, you just get on, and no matter what situation you go through in life, you just manage, you keep going and keep going and keep going. That's just how life is.
Yeah. What does resilience mean to you in those early days?
In the early days, I didn't really know what it was. I've never heard the word resilience, really. Like I said, for me, resilience then was probably just pulling your big girl pants on, being tough, and just getting on with it. Squashing your emotions to one side. Don't say how you feel. Wash everything down. Push it all down. Put a lid on it. Keep squashing it down, and you'll be okay. But that's not how it works.
How did your experience at the police force shape who you are today?
It gave me lots of empathy. So it helped me to understand other people. It gave me lots of communication skills.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, it's easy to judge people and decide that people have done something wrong or something bad.
Yes.
But there's always a reason for that.
Yeah.
And quite often we never get to understand why humans behave the way we do. We're just very quick to judge sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's when you have that understanding and you look at why somebody behaves the way they do, and then I teach people why they behave the way they do. You get an
Yes.
understanding that there is actually a different way. We've never been shown. Do you know what it looked like for me? It looked like going to work, performing every single day, being the best at what I was,
Yeah.
not telling anybody how I felt, just going, wearing the mask, putting the mask on, putting the body armor on,
Yeah.
and pretending that everything was perfect.
It wasn't.
No, I mean, the opposite side of that
Yeah.
was that when I went home from work on a night time, I was drinking alcohol every night. So I would, at least a bottle of wine, if not two sometimes. I was taking sleeping tablets like they were going out of fashion because I couldn't get these intrusive thoughts out of my own mind, this
Yeah.
constant narrative in my head about how I wasn't good enough and all these different things. So I wanted to silence that,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how. So what I did was I did what a lot of people do, and we use alcohol, and we use food, and we use chocolate, and we use shopping, and we use all these things
Yeah.
to
To
distract ourselves from what's actually going on because we don't want to feel. So we just keep going, keep busy and keep moving all the time. Because when you stop, that's when things start to come up and you start to feel, and you don't want to feel. So you keep moving. And I see all the time with professionals now, people who are so busy because they just want to distract themselves from what's actually going on inside. And I did.
Yeah. Is this all coming from the responsibility and the effects of your work, or was it like all personal?
There was a lot of both for me. So I grew up in a family that was quite a toxic environment when I was young. And when I was 13, I was sexually abused by a friend's parent. So I went through that. Went through lots of relationships that didn't work. And then when I joined the police, yes, there was trauma within the police. But then also when I'd been in the police for 2 years and I had a child. So I had my first child, Cameron. And when Cameron was 4, he was diagnosed with cancer. So I spent 6 months in hospital with him in the RVI in Newcastle. And I truly believed that we would bring him home and that he would, be cured. But that wasn't the case, and he died. So that for me was, I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know what to do with the pain. I'd never experienced anything like that. So all I did was what I knew best, and that was to just avoid it.
Yes.
To avoid it, to just keep moving and do anything I could, because I literally went home from hospital, went into hospital with my son, came home with nothing.
Oh gosh. Horrible.
Yeah, I mean, going back to a house where, my son's toys were still there, his clothes were still there, everything, just not him. So it was really, really difficult. And like I say, I didn't know how to manage that. So I just kept going. I was drinking, taking sleeping tablets. And actually, I went back to work within 2 weeks of my son dying.
Was that you trying to avoid thinking about it?
Yes.
And then just plummet yourself back into work?
Because like I said, I didn't want to feel the pain.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to process it. I didn't know what to do. So I did what I'd always done and what I'd always been told. Just
get
push
on
it
with
down, pull your pants up, get on with it, which is what I did.
What was the moment you realized like holding everything in wasn't helping?
There were 2 moments actually. Both of those moments were when I went to 2 particular jobs that I've been to, and one of them involved child who died, and I had to tell the mother that a child had died. And the second one was actually when it was a domestic incident, and the lady who I was dealing with at the time, she looked me in the eye and said, "You don't know what it's like to lose a child." And in that moment, all I wanted to scream at her was, "I do." But because I was professional, because I did what I was told to do and carry on and be professional and just show up how you're supposed to, I didn't say anything. But I actually went back home. I went back to the office that day and I just broke down in the locker room, and that was me. I went off on the sick for quite a long time. And I was in and out of being on the sick and back again and being in and back again. Nobody knew. I showed up. I was professional. I had my smile on. I had the mask on. and I performed brilliantly.
Yeah.
I did my job brilliantly. And I see it now with so many people.
Yeah.
Performing, wearing the mask, doing all the things, but behind closed doors, it's a completely different story.
It's not healthy.
Not healthy at all.
Why do you think that is common? Like with me, I'm a registered nurse as well.
Yes.
And you are a police officer, or an ex-police officer. But it crosses, it's like we are in this forefront where we help people. Why do you think that's common in our profession?
But now I can look back and think, okay, I believe that before I came onto this planet here, this part of life here, that I agreed to I signed up to what I'm here for today.
Yes.
And sometimes that's really difficult when you've been through really awful, traumatic times and you think, I didn't sign up for that. I did not sign up for that. So many times I'm like, no, I did not sign up for that. But actually, I believe that we're here to learn lessons. We're here to learn lessons to help us remember. And that remembering is going back to home, to spirit.
Yes.
And I believe that I'm on my path now. And it took me a long time to get on the path, like you. It took me a long time in that doing so. I've served people all of my life.
Yes.
Whether it be in childhood and then as a police officer serving people all my life, and I serve people now just in different ways. I remember my son said to me actually, not so long ago, because I have another son as well, and he said to me not so long ago, Mum, you've always helped people.
Yeah.
You just do it in a different way now.
That's
and
true.
I was like, oh yeah, that's
true.
really good.
Yes, that's true. That's a good way to look at it as well. And also like what you're doing right now, you're happier.
Love it. Love what I do now.
Which is good. Someone that is in survival mode. What do you think is the difference between these two?
The difference is there is healthy stress. We know that.
Yeah.
We know that there's healthy stress. You can activate your own nervous system to give you some drive. You know, people use it in the gym, athletes. We can actually encourage ourselves to have this energy and have this drive. And it is a stress response. The difference is when we go into the stress response, we don't recover from it.
Yes.
So the stress response is supposed to be a cycle where we go into the stress response and then it recovers. But more often than not, we're in the stress response and we never recover. So we're stuck in that stress response all the time. We don't complete that cycle. And then what happens is, you know, all of the stored emotions, the stored trauma, it all stays in the nervous system. And the nervous system remembers everything that you've ever been through. Every experience, especially the ones that you didn't choose, it remembers everything, you know. So that's what's holding in the body. And we know that, you know, trauma, unprocessed emotions can lead to illnesses.
Yeah. What would you say to someone that is listening right now and think, you know what, I'm strong, I'm going to hold everything in? What would you say to them?
I would say, you are mistaken. I held everything in. I absolutely held everything in for years. And I ended up where I was taken to hospital in an ambulance on 6 different occasions where I thought I was having a heart attack because of the pains that I was in. I have had cameras in every place you can even imagine. And I've been undiagnosed with so many different things because I suffered for years with illnesses, with it for years and years and years. I have now been medication free for 5 years. I've got a really healthy life. I look the best now that I've ever looked.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be 60 this year. But it's all about, you know, we can help ourselves.
Yeah.
There was a time when I didn't believe there was another way.
Yes.
But when I want to be the hope for the people so that they look at me and think, well, actually, there is another way, because if she's been through the worst things in life anybody can go through, then I want to know how to do that as well. Because there is definitely when it's our responsibility.
Yeah.
See, I used to think, maybe you've been the same in nursing. As a police officer, it was the organisation's responsibility to look after my mental health. That's what I believed. I wanted them to fix me. I wanted them to give me a tablet to make my pain go away. I wanted them to make everything perfect for me, but it's not their responsibility.
They should have a level of responsibility which they are not doing as a big organisation. And it's something with NHS as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we take ownership and we take our part in it and be responsible, because ultimately we all want to feel good, whether that's mentally, physically, we want to feel good. And so many people don't even feel anymore because they're so disconnected. They're just going through the motions. They're just surviving. They're not feeling anything, not that deep connection with themselves, with other people. We've sort of lost that art of being connected to ourselves. First.
Yeah.
Important.
Our tagline here at Auditions is self-care is not selfish, it's survival. What do you think about that? Tell me.
Yeah, I think it's good. So self-care is absolutely paramount.
Okay.
Because a lot of people would say self-care is going out drinking on night,
Oh,
going out on a weekend, eating food all weekend, all those things.
yeah.
But self-care is what it means. Self-care for me is doing things that make me feel.
Right. So you started your coaching business and you started coaching your colleagues in the force. What made you start?
It was because of all the things that I'd been through, all of the trauma I'd experienced, and the fact that there was no help for me at that time within the organisation. I went to a therapist where it was just to sit and talk about the things that I'd experienced. And for me, that didn't work at all. All that happened was when we're talking about things over and over again, it just brings it back to the forefront all the time. And I really wanted something to help me move on, to move forward. And I couldn't find anything. So I started doing the work myself. So I started looking outside. I became an energy healer, Reiki practitioner, all of those things. So I started doing those things for myself first, and then realised actually there are some things that you can do that really do help. Then within the police at the time, they just started to bring in coaching within the police. So I was one of the first ones that they put me through a coaching qualification within the police, which was really great. And then I became a trauma practitioner, so I was able to work with police officers who had actually experienced trauma immediately after the trauma. There was different things that I could do as a trauma practitioner to work with police officers. So that became really, really good. I was able to then help colleagues. However, it is difficult because, same as I was, we don't want to say that there's anything wrong, that we're struggling, because as a police officer, you are seen as somebody that, we're there to help everybody else.
Yes.
You're not struggling. People come to you when they're challenged, when they're struggling, when they've got problems, and you're there to help. So for you to actually say, hey, I'm struggling, I can't manage, is a weakness. That's how it's perceived, as weakness. So I think when police officers actually get to the point where they do ask for help, beyond help almost, that really crisis point, and that's where I found myself at that crisis point. But the fact that I was able to help other police officers was really, really good. And that's what started me off in my own coaching business. Yes. Because I knew then that there was another way that I could help people, not just members of the public, but actually police officers as well.
Why do you think your fellow police officers, your colleague at that point, opened up to you and accepted what you're trying to tell?
Because I've walked the path. So I, had been in situations in my own life where I was unable to manage. I'd been off on the sick. I'd spent 10 years with mental health challenges, depression, on medication, and I ended up trying to end my own life. So I'd walked the path. I could empathise with what they were feeling, because quite often people just want some silence in the mind and can't get it. So I was able to empathise and understand and have a human conversation and have a human connection with them. We connected through the job, through experience. And I find now that that's what people always say to me, people who work with me, is that there's a trust. They feel safe.
Yes.
There's that safety there. They can say whatever. I'm not there to judge. I'm there to listen, to see them for where they're at and meet them where they're at. And I think that's really important. And that's a skill that I don't know if I've developed it or it's just within me. But it's that empathy, being able to be there for people and listen.
What pattern do you see shows up all the time with people that are perfect on paper?
Yeah, perfect on paper. Normally the people who just can't stop. They can't stop. And I see it all the time. I've just recently actually had a 14-day nervous system awareness program that I've just released, and I've just done the first cohort. And what was really interesting, so I had 40 people sign up to that. And what was really interesting was that probably about 15 or 20 of them said that they couldn't find 1 minute a day to do the exercise.
Oh, 1 minute?
1 minute. So out of the 14-day, the awareness program, basically it's about teaching other people about their nervous system, what it feels like,
Yes.
how they can connect with it, because most of us don't know. We've never been shown. So that was the point of the 14 days. But actually within that, you had to take time to take 5 minutes out, sit still, connect with your body, do lots of different things.
Yeah.
And the feedback was with some of them that I reached out to, because I said, you haven't engaged. And they said, oh, I'm just too busy. I haven't got time. So they haven't got time for 1 or 2 minutes of
for
themselves. So that's the pattern that I see. People on the go, constantly doing things for other people, and they just don't have the ability to stop, because they know they use distractions. They say, oh, I've got this to do, I've got all these things to do. You don't have to, it's a choice. But that's become a coping strategy. It's become an adaptive strategy so that they don't have to feel. And that's the most common thing from everybody.
How did coaching them change the way you saw yourself?
Well, it's really interesting because, so I actually also coach people around mindset as well. So I do that every Monday night. It really does help to grow me.
Yeah.
Because when you're helping other people through a particular process, whether it's your mindset, nervous system, whichever one you want to talk about, when you're taking people through that, you go through that as well again.
Yes.
So the layers just go deeper, don't they? The layers go deeper all the time. And I believe that we're here to continue to grow. Life is about growth. There's so many things that I want to experience and become better at and grow in life, because it's not about the goals, it's about the journey.
What does healing mean to you? Is it a destination, or is it just a practice?
It's definitely not a destination, it's a practice. For me, every day, I have a practice every day that I do regardless. They're just my non-negotiables that I will do every single day. And for me, that keeps me in a healing place. I don't think we're ever healed, because life continues.
That's true.
So life will continue to throw challenges at us. What's different is how we manage those challenges, how we manage through them, and how we come out the other side of them, still feeling good, still connected to ourselves, still being able to, come back without it taking from our soul.
Well, you've been 5 years now out of the police force.
Yes.
What does your healing book look like now?
We've talked about this earlier on, the fact that I always said that I wouldn't write a book. The first thing I do every single day is breath work.
Love that.
Every day, breath work. Before I get out of bed, I reach over, pick my phone, put my headphones on, and I do 10 minutes of breath work.
Yes.
Every single day. It's activating breath work. So it's not to calm me down, it's to activate my energy. Once I activate my energy, I then go straight into a 10-minute meditation.
Yes.
Because I'm connected to myself, my own energy, and then I can connect to source. Sometimes I might do an extra 10 minutes or an extra half an hour in that meditative state, because it feels amazing, because I'm just connected to me, body.
Yeah.
No outside noise, that peace, that stillness that I always wanted when I was a police officer.
Yes.
That stillness and peace in there is there, and I can get to that any point. So I do that. Then I go and I do 30 minutes cardio on a treadmill every morning, whilst listening to my mentor.
Yes.
Because I have headphones, so I still develop myself, grow spiritually. So I listen to her every morning while I'm on my cardio. Then I eat my breakfast, which I go to the gym 3 times a week. I dance 3 times a week. Still love dancing, one of my passions.
And I think it keeps you fit, isn't it?
Yeah, then it's freedom.
Yeah.
We all want freedom. That's what I want, freedom. Time freedom, financial freedom, freedom to be able to do and be what I want to be. And I feel like I've got those. And that's because I've created that life in probably the last 10 years, but more so the last 5 years.
Amazing. What is something that people get wrong about healing?
They think it's a destination. They think it's a destination. And also they think that they can go and have some sessions, and, whether that be 1 session, 5 sessions, 12 sessions, and they think they come out the other side of that and they're healed. Yes, I'm healed. But healing is a journey. It's a practice. It's something that you will continue to do. And I think when you feel good, you want to continue that.
Yes.
You want to continue feeling good. And that means continuing the practice.
You waited years to start writing this book. And then something changed 6 weeks ago. What changed? Tell us.
I think 6 weeks ago, what changed was I was held accountable by somebody
Yeah.
So I'm part of a mentorship program myself. And within that mentorship program, I had an accountability partner.
Yes.
So we're like, these are our business goals every day, and this is what we're going to do. And out of that, accountability partner, Leona, she said to me, I think you need to write a book. And I said, I've thought about that so many times. The reason I don't want to is because my parents are still alive. And obviously, I'm going to talk about things that have happened in my life. And I don't want people to think judgments and think that my parents did anything wrong.
Yeah.
Because my parents just did what they knew best, as a lot of people do. So that's why I always said I wouldn't. But 6 weeks ago when she challenged me, I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So I actually started recording 20 minutes every day into my phone so that is going to eventually be my book.
Right. So when do you think this book is going to come out?
Oh, who knows? That's a secret. It will just happen when it happens.
Well,
it's meant to be. That's
good. That's
it's meant to be.
What else are you working on right now?
Well, I'm working on myself first,
Yes.
as always. I'm actually working on my speaker profile as a speaker. So up until 3 years ago, I'd never even spoken at all. I'd never told my story. I'd never spoken about me. I was literally terrified of public speaking all of my life. And that was a lot from my policing background, because if I said anything that wasn't 100% accurate, there was consequences.
Yes.
Severe consequences. That could be life or death consequences. So I was always very mindful of what I said. And if, it had to be 100% correct, otherwise don't say it.
Yeah.
So I've held myself back a lot. And then I think 3 years ago, I realised that was holding me back in my coaching business, because I'm unable to get my message across to people.
Yeah.
So I then joined a Toastmasters group, and then we went online for when COVID hit. So everything went online. So I didn't actually do it in person.
Yeah.
So then I became really comfortable speaking online. I was like, oh, this is fine. This is easy. And then I was asked to go and speak at an event, and I was like, oh, you speak at an event. So that's something that I'm really working on now. I have spoken. I actually won an award 2 years ago for best upcoming speaker at a global award for speaking. I'm really, really good at speaking now.
Yeah.
I've been speaking on stages. So that's part of my growth now, is to expand that, because I want to stand on stage on a global platform in a physical and actually empower people in leadership, and because we have to lead ourselves before we lead anybody else.
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
Tell us about your coaching programs.
I've got a few. The first one I have is the 14-day free one, which I just spoke about, which is called Rewired. And that is basically giving people awareness of their nervous system, so that they can understand how it's impacting them. They can look at, am I stuck in fight or flight? Am I not? How is it impacting me? How is it impacting my energy? All these different things. That is free at the moment. I also do a lot of one-to-one 6-week programs. I always start with 6 weeks, because I think it's not right to allow somebody to think that they can come and have one session
and just go,
and they're going to be healed.
Yes.
Because it doesn't work like that. So people would feel great when they left, and then 6 months later they're just the same. So now I always start with 6 sessions. It's all embodiment. So it's not necessarily talking.
Yeah.
It's all embodiment. It's releasing from the body, from the nervous system, the stored emotions, the energy, the trauma, all of those things. And then at the other side of it, the program I have is a mindset program, which I facilitate. It's actually a program that was designed by my mentor called The Path to Achievement, but I facilitate that every week for her. So the way I work is I do the body first.
Yeah.
And when the body feels safe, the mind, then you can take the mind through all the reprogramming of the subconscious mind. My website is kaymccreadycoaching.com. There we go.
Who do you want your message to reach the most? I know you want to go on every stage in the world.
Everyone.
I love
The
it.
thing is, it's whoever needs to hear it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it?
That's important.
It's not about me, saying to other people, you must heal. It's about, I want to speak to the people who are ready. The people who are ready to actually make that decision that they are worth putting the work in, that they're worth working on themselves, and they can have somebody to lead them down the pathway, take them by the hand if they need to, but actually show them that there is a way. And somebody who hasn't just read a book or done a course or I've actually been down the path. I've lived that path and come out the other side, which I
but-
think's really, really important.
Is because you've got that lived experience.
Yeah.
And that's something that you cannot buy from the text. These days, you can put yourself on the person's shoe and be able to feel and understand what they're going through. That makes so much difference. What would you tell the version of yourself 10 years in the force? What would you tell that version of yourself right now?
I tell myself lots of things that maybe I shouldn't say. But I would probably say trust yourself.
Okay.
Trust yourself and believe in yourself, especially in a male-dominated environment. It was difficult where, there's no way would I allow things to happen now that happened then, or the way people spoke to me, the way people treat me. There's no way, as the woman that I am today,
Yes.
would I allow those things to happen.
I think that is very powerful.
And just trust yourself, trust your own voice, speak up, trust your voice. Allow yourself to be heard, which I think is really important.
That's right. But a lot of our listeners are female as well.
Mm-hmm.
They need to trust themselves more than able to go. And also, if they found themselves in a male-dominated environment, that word just said they can motivate them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I was in that environment for a long time, and then I complied with what I had to comply with, because if I didn't, I felt like I would lose my job.
Yes.
If I spoke up, if I said what I really felt, that would go against me.
Yeah.
And I was told that it would go against me. So, but looking back now, having the strength, the inner strength that I have now, you have to find somebody who's going to support you.
Yeah.
It's really important to find.
So you have to shrink yourself to be able to fit it. What is one practical first step you would tell to someone that is in a survival mode at the moment?
One practical step is to breathe, to do some breath work. And when I say breathe, what we have to do, first of all, is most people don't even know that they're breathing in the chest. So what I always say to people is put one hand on your chest and one hand on your chest and one hand on your tummy. And when we take a breath in, normally when people take a breath in, deep breath in, normally the chest comes up.
Yeah?
Yeah. But what we want to do is we want our tummy to come out when we breathe in. So breathe in.
Okay. And then
so we breathe in. Stay still and we breathe from here.
You see? What does that do?
What that does is tells your nervous system that it's okay, that you can calm down. Activates the part of the nervous system for rest and digest. When we're breathing up here all the time, that's why a lot of people have anxiety, because of breathing up here. So it's telling the fight or flight, I need to be active. Where when we breathe around the diaphragm, tells you that it's okay, you can slow down. So again, breathe through your stomach and then take really long, slow breaths out. Not on the way in, but so if you were to do, the one I always do is 4-2-6. So if you breathe in for 4, hold at the top for 2, and then release. It's a long breath out that does it.
It's like, that's amazing. That's amazing. I hope you guys can be able to practice that at home if you're watching this on the video. Wow, it was nice having you, Kay. Where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere. I'm on social media, on every platform, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and now my new website, which is kaymccreadycoaching.com.
And thank you for joining us today. Healing Chats by Talicious. Remember, healing isn't a destination, it's a journey. Until next time, take care of yourself, because self-care is not selfish, it's survival. Right.